You have been told since childhood that being nice is the key to getting what you want, that if you smile, agree, and accommodate, the world will open its doors to you. But let's expose the lie. Niceness, in the way most people practice it, is not a strength. It is a silent confession of weakness. It is the strategy of those too afraid to assert themselves, too fearful of rejection to take a stand, too desperate for approval to risk disappointment. A man who is excessively nice does not command respect, he invites indifference. His words are safe, his presence unremarkable, his energy forgettable. He avoids conflict not because he is wise, but because he lacks the courage to stand his ground. He agrees not because he truly believes, but because he is terrified of what will happen if he does not. This kind of niceness is not kindness, it is submission dressed as virtue. When you prioritize being nice over being real, you train the world to overlook you. You teach others that your voice is not worth listening to, that your opinions do not matter, that you will always bend to the will of those around you, and in doing so you rob yourself of the very thing you seek: respect, admiration, and influence. Look around. Who are the men that command attention? Who are the ones that others look up to? It is not the people pleasers. It is those who are firm in their beliefs, who are unafraid to draw a line in the sand, who possess a quiet but unshakable presence. These men do not seek approval, they expect it. They do not demand respect, they embody it. And because of this, the world naturally responds to them. Niceness, when it comes from fear, is a prison. It locks you in a cycle of constant approval seeking, of watered-down opinions, of a life lived on other people's terms. Break free. Speak your mind even when it is uncomfortable. Stand by your values even when they are unpopular. Be fair, but never be a pushover. The moment you stop fearing rejection, the moment you stop needing validation, is the moment you become truly free. The world does not reward those who merely wish to be liked. It rewards those who stand tall, unwavering, and unapologetically themselves. Imagine walking into a room where everyone agrees with everything you say, nodding along, smiling, never challenging, never questioning. At first it might feel comfortable, even pleasant, but soon you realize something. They are forgettable. Their presence leaves no mark. Their words fade as soon as they are spoken. They are there, but they do not matter. This is the fate of the man who seeks approval above all else. He becomes invisible, not because he lacks intelligence or potential, but because he refuses to assert himself. In his desperate attempt to be liked by everyone, he loses the ability to be truly respected by anyone. He is agreeable to the point of being irrelevant, pleasant to the point of being unmemorable. There is a dangerous belief that being easygoing and accommodating will make you valued. But what people truly remember, what they truly respect, is not blind agreement but conviction. People are drawn to those who stand for something, who are willing to say no, who are not afraid to challenge when necessary. It is those who speak with clarity, who express themselves without hesitation, who leave an impact. A man who fears disagreement silences his own thoughts. He nods even when he disagrees. He accepts even when he resents. He smiles even when he is disrespected. And in doing so, he teaches the world that his presence can be overlooked, that his opinions are not worth considering, that his approval is given so freely it is meaningless. Look at those who are truly admired. They are not reckless or hostile, but they do not shy away from speaking their truth. They are not desperate to be liked, and precisely because of that they are respected. Their words carry weight because they do not offer them cheaply. When they agree, it is because they mean it. When they disagree, they do so with confidence. If you wish to be remembered, if you wish to be taken seriously, you must abandon the need to please. You must stop shaping yourself into whatever you think others want. Instead, speak with conviction, act with purpose, and make your presence impossible to ignore. Those who are afraid to offend will always be overlooked, but those who dare to stand firm will always command attention. Picture a man who bends at the slightest pressure, who agrees with everything, who avoids confrontation like a plague. He is always pleasant, always agreeable, always willing to do whatever it takes to stay in good graces. And yet, despite all his efforts, he is met with indifference, dismissed with ease, overlooked without a second thought. Now, picture another man. He is calm, composed, and unshaken. He does not raise his voice unnecessarily, nor does he force his will upon others. But when he speaks, people listen. When he makes a decision, it stands. He does not argue for the sake of argument, nor does he seek validation. He knows what he believes, he knows what he will and will not tolerate, and he does not apologize for it. Respect is not given to those who seek approval, it is given to those who stand firm. A man who constantly yields to others, who avoids conflict at all costs, who never asserts his own boundaries, does not inspire admiration. He inspires disregard. People quickly learn that they can push him, manipulate him, and take advantage of his unwillingness to stand his ground. Women especially do not respect a man who grovels for their attention. They do not admire a man who places them on a pedestal, who fears their disapproval, who treats them as an authority to be pleased rather than an equal to be engaged. They respect a man who knows his worth, who does not tolerate disrespect, who is willing to walk away rather than compromise his principles. This does not mean being aggressive or domineering. Strength is not loud. It does not require intimidation or arrogance. True strength is quiet, composed, and unwavering. It is the ability to say no without fear, to disagree without hesitation, to stand firm without needing approval. If you want respect, you must first respect yourself. This means valuing your own time, your own beliefs, and your own boundaries. It means refusing to chase approval and instead focusing on becoming a man whose presence commands it. The world does not admire those who beg to be liked. It admires those who do not need to be. Stop asking for respect, start embodying it. Fear is a silent poison. It seeps into your thoughts, your actions, your decisions until it controls you without you even realizing it. The fear of rejection, the fear of disapproval, the fear of not being liked. These are the invisible chains that keep men weak, hesitant, and unremarkable. And the most dangerous part? Those who are trapped by these fears believe they are simply being nice. A man ruled by fear is a man who never truly lives on his own terms. He watches his words carefully, terrified of saying the wrong thing. He suppresses his opinions, afraid they might cause disagreement. He avoids conflict at all costs, believing that staying in everyone's good graces is the path to success. But in this desperate effort to avoid rejection, he rejects himself first. Look closely at the world around you. The men who are admired, the men who are respected, the men who others look up to, they are not reckless, but they are fearless. They do not seek out conflict, but they do not shrink from it either. They do not change their beliefs simply to fit in, nor do they silence themselves to avoid discomfort. They understand a simple truth. Fear-based behavior leads to failure. When a man operates from fear, he is not truly making decisions. His fears are making them for him. He stays quiet when he should speak, he tolerates when he should walk away, he seeks validation instead of standing firm, and worst of all, he believes this will earn him approval. But respect is not given to those who hesitate, it is given to those who move with certainty. Women do not admire a man who fears them, they do not desire a man who is desperate to please, who tiptoes around them, who drowns in hesitation. They are drawn to a man who is secure in himself, who is unshaken by emotions, who does not flinch under pressure. Not because he is indifferent, but because he is in control. The solution is not arrogance or aggression. It is to root out fear from your mind and replace it with clarity. To make decisions based on principle, not anxiety. To act with confidence, not desperation. Stop letting fear dictate your life. Stop chasing approval and start commanding it. The moment you stop seeking permission to be yourself, the world will take notice. Imagine living your life as a puppet with invisible strings pulling you in every direction. One moment you're saying what you think others want to hear, the next you're adjusting your behavior to fit the expectations of the people around you. You nod when you disagree, you smile when you're frustrated, and you bite your tongue when you should be speaking. Why? Because you fear their opinions. Because you have given away your power. This is the reality for those who are controlled by the thoughts of others. They believe their worth is determined by external validation, that their success depends on being liked, that their happiness is tied to acceptance. But this is a weak and fragile way to live. The moment you allow other people's opinions to dictate your actions, you become their servant, and worse, you lose yourself in the process. True power comes from indifference to fleeting opinions. This does not mean being reckless or rude. It means understanding that the approval of others is not the foundation of your value. It means realizing that most people's judgments are shaped by their own insecurities, biases, and fleeting emotions. One day they will praise you, the next they will criticize you. If you allow their shifting opinions to control you, you will forever be at their mercy. Look at those who command respect. They do not beg for approval. They do not change their beliefs to fit in. They do not hesitate to speak their minds, even if their words make others uncomfortable. They move through life with a quiet, unshakable confidence because they do not seek validation. They create it within themselves. A man who is indifferent to unnecessary opinions becomes untouchable. He does not chase after approval, and yet he receives it. He does not demand respect, and yet people give it to him. Why? Because he values himself first, because he does not need permission to exist on his own terms. Detach yourself from the need to be liked. Let go of the fear of disapproval. Focus on becoming a man of principle, a man of action, a man who determines his own worth. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself to the world will take notice. You do not need their approval. You never did. Picture two men walking into a room. The first man moves carefully, scanning the faces around him, hoping for a smile, a nod, some form of acknowledgement. He laughs at jokes that aren't funny, agrees with opinions he doesn't believe in, and speaks softly, afraid to offend. He is waiting for approval, hoping to be noticed, desperate to be accepted. But no one truly sees him. He is just another face in the crowd, another voice that fades the moment he stops speaking. The second man walks in differently. He is not trying to be seen. He simply is. His posture is strong, his expression calm, his movements unhurried. He does not scan the room for approval. He does not adjust himself to fit in. He is not concerned with whether people like him. He knows who he is. And because of that, people notice him without him even trying. This is the difference between a man who begs for attention and a man who commands it. The first man believes he must prove his worth to others. The second knows that his worth is not up for negotiation. The first chases approval, changing himself to be more likable. The second remains steadfast, and because of that, people are drawn to him. The world is full of men who shrink themselves, who hesitate, who wait for someone else to give them permission to be confident. They try too hard to be liked, and in doing so, they repel the very respect they crave. Women, in particular, can sense this desperation. A man who overextends himself, who seeks validation, who is too eager to please, does not attract admiration. He triggers indifference. A man who is self-assured does not need to force respect. He does not need to be loud or aggressive. His presence speaks for itself. He does not demand attention. Attention finds him. He does not seek approval. People offer it freely because they recognize his value. Stop chasing, stop trying so hard, stop seeking permission to be worthy. Instead, focus on becoming someone who naturally commands attention, not through desperation, but through self-respect. Confidence is not something you ask for, it is something you embody. And once you do, the world will respond to you in a way it never has before.